Come get some.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 50th edition of The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides right here on 90.3 Near FM. I'm Dave Cullen and I'm joined by the head writer of the Bullet Club, Dara Marr. Dara, how are you this afternoon?
I'm feeling quite well, Dave. Quite accomplished.
No surprise though, because you've been calling that for weeks.
I know, right?
Weeks.
I've said it, he'd be the perfect member of the Bullet Club.
He is.
And I'm right, and he joined last night. If you're not aware of what we're talking about, last night at War of the Worlds Ring of Honor's pay-per-view, Marty Scurll, I should say, joined the Bullet Club, kicking Adam Cole out.
There you go. Adam Cole had his last match for Ring of Honor against Hiroshi Tanahashi, and then it looked like there was a bit of a curtain call with him and the Young Bucks until Kenny Omega came out of nowhere.
The Super Click.
Yeah, came out of nowhere, expressing his disappointment, saying every story has a hero and a villain before firing him, and then out came Marty Scurll with his Bullet Club umbrella. Yeah, which is classy, by the way. That's going to be like the number one item. Just come out, like, you know.
Exactly. And he's doing something that I kind of hoped he would do for ages. Kind of when he beats someone down, he lifts them up with the handle of the umbrella.
Yeah. It works.
It works so well.
Yeah. So, especially if someone has longer hair, and him, he has like really long hair, so he's like drags him up and hooks his chin with the umbrella, like while the other two kissed him on the cheek. It was so funny. So
and then cover him with the open Bullet Club umbrella at the end.
Yeah,
it's just perfect. There's so many things you can do now with it.
It's exciting times ahead for sure now, especially for Marty Scurll now, especially now because there is no Bullet Club representation in the Best of Super Juniors. There is now.
But there is now.
We're coming to you live from the RFM studios in the beautiful North Dublin village of Coolock, and we'll be here for the next 2 hours, bringing you all the latest news, results, previews, rumours, and more from the world of professional wrestling. On this week's show, we'll be giving you all the latest news from the world of pro wrestling, both here and abroad. We'll be viewing the past week's action from Over the Top Wrestling, WWE Raw, Smackdown, 205 Live, and NXT. I'll be also looking at a special profile of Y2J Chris Jericho. All that to come, but first we're going to start, as always, with the news.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
We're going to start with news concerning Ember Moon. WWE NXT Women's Wrestler Ember Moon will no longer be no longer being advertised for the upcoming Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver Chicago on May 20th. During the number one contenders Battle Royale match during the segment of tapings from NXT, Ember Moon was sent out to the ring to the floor during a segment where Asuka interrupted the Battle Royale. Amber's arm was outstretched as she landed and hit the guardrail awkwardly and immediately looked like she was in some discomfort. It was actually a really bad landing. Did you see that match?
I didn't get to see it, no.
What happened was it was between Ember Moon, Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott. And what happened was she threw it out the ring between the middle and bottom corner, and she went out in such a force, and I think her arm hit the guardrail and or something like that. So it reminds me of Finn Balor's injury in except it was front way instead of back way.
Could it be one of those, if like she didn't put her arm out, she would have been okay, but because she did, she's in trouble now?
Pretty much, yeah. So it hasn't been confirmed yet if it's a triple threat match yet.
It has
now. Oh, it has?
It has. WWE put it on their Facebook page during the week.
Oh, it's during the week?
Yeah. She said that she won't be taking part in it. And William Regal said it's just been changed to a triple threat.
What will this do for the actual result of the match? Like, or do you think?
I don't like I said. I don't feel that that Asuka is going to lose the title until she beats Goldberg's record, and she hasn't beaten it yet.
How far away is she now?
I think she's like 5 or 6.
5 or 6 away.
Yeah, 5 or 6 wins away.
It gets more weird now because like she isn't wrestling as much. Like, you know, she's taking the heel approach very well to her credit, like, you know. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, sometimes the best champions, like, have you ever noticed, like, especially lately in the indies, that all the best champions are especially if they're heels, tend to have longer reigns. Jimmy Havoc, great example. He was Progress champion for almost 600 days, and he was probably the most hated wrestler in the whole country. Yeah, at one stage. Like, so I think it's working in Asuka's favour. She could be champion until next year's WrestleMania if that's the case. Like, you know. Yeah,
look, there's no issue with it. It's a great way to keep her as the belt, and it's a great excuse to keep her on as the champ, because she's not going anywhere. And I think maybe it's too soon for anybody. The closest one would be Ember. She's out now, so I don't think anyone, like Ruby Riott, she's only after getting there. They're not going to put the belt on her.
True.
Nikki Cross, no. I think what we're going to see is probably see a Nikki Cross Ruby Riott sort of feud.
That's a very good rivalry.
I think we were going to get that coming out of the Fatal 4-Way anyway, and that might continue. I don't know, maybe they might try something with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
Possibly,
because they're not involved in the match, so might as well. They are, like, I think they're probably the two best female heels in NXT at the moment.
But that's another problem though, is since Asuka is now a heel, and
well, to be fair, Asuka flips all the time. She does. They made her heel just for the Ember Moon rivalry, but Ember Moon is out for an extended period of time. There's no issue with putting Asuka back as a face, because the crowd still like her either way.
That's true. She is very over, actually. So, but it's interesting to see, like, does it, because she hasn't floated over that much. Like, this is her first turn. Since
she was kind of a heel for the Bayley one.
Not really.
She was.
She's more in between.
Like, if you had to pick between Bayley and Asuka as the heel in that feud, it was Asuka.
Okay, grant you that, but like, she was still more of a face. She was still presented as a face, as opposed to now, where she's definitely presented as a heel. Yeah. In my view, anyway. Like, I don't know. So
I wouldn't say maybe. Yeah, okay, cocky sort of thing. Like, she's beaten all of them, so she knows herself that.
Although now I think about it, she did act very heelish actually during some bits in that Bayley rivalry. So maybe you're right there.
So she flips.
Yeah, exactly. More times than I realise, I guess.
She's like the Big Show.
Oh, no, that can't be possible.
No, that's true. Big Show flips about 2 times a week.
Let's move on. You have news about WWE tryouts this week in the UK.
Yeah, you've probably seen the pictures online, but some of the biggest prospects in Europe and the UK are hoping to turn out hoping to turn the heads, I should say, of WWE talent scouts this week at a tryout in London, hours before the O2 Arena opens to the WWE Universe for back-to-back nights of Raw and Smackdown Live. 22 men and 2 women churn through the in-ring drills inside the venue under the guidance of William Regal, Matt Bloom and Steve Corino. The tryouts, I should say, is the latest in a concerted effort to recruit wrestlers from the region. A similar tryout last year in Glasgow, Scotland laid the foundation for a field of competitors in January's United Kingdom Championship tournament, many of whom fought last weekend as part of the first UK Championship live events in Norwich, England. Among those attending this week's tryouts were Jurn Simmons, you probably would have known from Scrapper Mania as having the longest entrance in existence. I wonder if we had a similar entrance coming down for the tryouts. I'm guessing not, but it would have been fun to see. Adam Maxted was also involved. Flash Morgan Webster, Travis Banks, Chris Brooks and TJ Cooper.
I'll tell you something though, if Jurn Simmons really had an entrance like that for the tryouts, someone like Matt Bloom, who's probably gotten used to walking up and down big ramps when he was in Japan, he probably appreciates it, if anything. Maybe not William Regal and Steve Corino.
I'd give him the job just for the entrance.
But you know, but he's WXW.
Imagine him, okay, in NXT with not TJ Perkins, that'd be just weird. Not TJ Perkins, him in NXT with No Way Jose, having an entrance together.
That would last half the show. Like,
it would. They'd be dancing through the crowd, and it's not that big of a crowd in Full Sail either. They'll probably do 2 laps of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're probably better off having a dance contest between those two, like, or something like that. So
yeah, well, Jurn is more his air guitar than anything else.
Still, like, it's his move. Like, there's no particular, like, you could argue, maybe this is me not being educated in salsa or whatever his line of dance is, and No Way Jose, but you could argue, well, what's his moves? What's his party piece when he does?
He feels the groove, man.
Yeah, but there's
like how Naomi feels the glow, he feels the groove.
I know, but like, does he have a particular step? Let's say, like, you know how Michael Jackson moonwalks.
Yeah.
What's his party piece? Like the air guitar for Ian Simmons.
He does like a little shuffle with his feet, doesn't he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Similar to like sort of Enzo's, but like more of a groovy sort of way of doing it.
It's interesting though, going back to the tryouts, so it's interesting seeing, because a few of these were involved in some of the matches in the WrestleMania Access Tour in Orlando, like
with Progress. Yeah,
exactly. Travis Banks, who's like one of the him and Chris Brooks, who are doing very well at the moment as CCK in the UK. They're Rev Pro Tag Team Champions. They won an OTT during the week. We'll get more about that shortly, but some really good prospects. Flash Marvin Webster, he's a very good wrestler. He actually could have been in the Cruiserweight Classic, or could have been around the WWE UK thing, but he picked up an injury shortly after his match against Zack Sabre Jr. to qualify for the Cruiserweight Classic. And who knows, he could have been involved way sooner. Like, so I suppose it shows his dedication, his work ethic to still be going in there, I suppose.
Exactly.
Adam Max said as well, from Belfast as well, like, so he's only been wrestling for 4 years or something like that, not that long.
Yeah, there was a bit of disappointment in the lack of female tryouts as well. There was a lot of talk, especially I saw like the day of the tryouts on Twitter, a few people were mentioning it, there was only 2 women, but if you look at it as well, I think a lot of the women, like let's say for example, like in the UK, Nixon Newell, is already set to take part in the Women's Classic in the summer, so I wouldn't be too disappointed that there wasn't that many women trying out. I think it's because a lot of the possible potential female tryouts for that have already been hired to take part in the female Classic.
Has Delilah Black or Jeannie been in tried out yet?
I don't know,
because they're both in progress. I think Jeannie's going to be the new women's champion soon. So, sorry, my mic was off there. Was Delilah Black or Jeannie part of Progress, I want to say, or involved in the tryouts? So?
I can't say for sure.
So
I can't. It's not on the top of my head right now, or in my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Delilah Black. Maybe Jeannie. Like, I obviously know Nixon Newell, and I don't know, I haven't a clue, like, I'm brutally honest. So I'm like, they didn't advertise every single name when we found the reports, but yeah, it's interesting. And what will be interesting to see now is how they'll be used if they come out. Will they be added to the UK?
I'd imagine show? So yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 of them involved in NXT. Who knows? Like, you have Chris Butch, who's involved now in NXT now, but that's probably when he was over there. Like, all those tapings.
That's when they were all over together.
Exactly. Yeah. So who knows? It might be still around, but like, it'll be interesting to see what happens from there on in anyway. But anyway, let's move on. Stone Cold Steve Austin guested on After Buzz TV's Lillian Garcia making their way to the ring, and discussed a few topics, such as if his current status in WWE and not taking a job at the moment with the company. He says, "I don't like to travel anymore. It's like when I'm still in the WWE in my days before that, because I give or take have been in the business 13 or 14 years until my neck crapped out and I got out of the business. I loved being on the road back in the day. You know, you're a road warrior, you're addicted to the road. Then all of a sudden you're out there and you've been on the road for 10, 14, whatever more days, and you're thinking, God damn it, man. I want to go home, and I want to get there home, and you're there for about a day and a half, and you're like, man, I really want to get back in the roads, but I mean, it's in your blood. Once you get out of the business, and it took me 3 years to get over getting out of the business, and I won't tell that story because I told that story so many times, but my point is, you know, you're in the business when you're being on the road with WWE, you're a road warrior, and that's what you do. It's your life and you love it, and I'm very passionate about the business. What I wanted to do with my life, the only thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to come out here and get into acting. I did it because I had to get out the business of pro wrestling, but my point was, when you turn your back into what I call civilian mode, you know, you kind of lose all interest in travelling. So it kind of explains in a strange way maybe how a few years ago, when he had especially when he had his injuries with his neck, like it probably could have explained maybe his feelings or the thoughts in his head maybe when he left WWE a few times, especially in 2002, I think it was. When it was that really controversial leaving when he turned his back. Yeah,
exactly. That was more due to the fact, I think I wouldn't say in denial, but it's the only word that comes into my head, that he was in denial about the fact that he wasn't at the top anymore. I think that they wanted him to put Brock over.
That's
wanted
true.
him to job out to Brock. and it wasn't something he was prepared to do.
But do you think all the miles to the road led him to be naturally more frustrated? Maybe.
I think so.
That's the thing. Like, see, it's easy to be negative about stuff. Like if you're tired, and you've been traveling for so long. Like any wrestler will tell you who's been touring for ages. Maybe we're only seeing this from a fan's perspective, but at the same time, you look at how all these wrestlers would be traveling for like miles and have like so many days on them, like where they'd be traveling like 300 days a year. So naturally they're going to be very tired, especially when they work all the time, and eventually it'll catch up to you, and naturally you become maybe an angrier person. Like, I'm not saying Stone Cold was like that, but it could explain a lot, like,
Yeah, and it didn't help the fact that the schedule was so tough on wrestlers in WWE back then. They were on the road for a lot of time. They didn't get to see their family. WWE nowadays have made changes to that, where they do make sure I think it's at least 2 days a week or something like that that you do get off and you get to spend with your family. So it's an awful lot better for superstars now, and I know like he says, he's happy that he's not in it anymore, and like hopefully he can come back and do his podcasts again, because the names that are going through at the moment that will be on the WWE network are very exciting,
especially the Undertaker.
Now I still I listen to his podcast that he does now, and I do find it an awful lot better because he hasn't got WWE behind him, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he can ask the questions that he wants. It's clear that when he's in the WWE one, he can't say what he really feels. He did with Dean Ambrose, and then he was kicked out. So he'll have to. So I don't know if he is going to get a new contract, and under those terms, he will say, "Okay, I need to be able to say what I want because that's what the people want." And I think, sorry.
If anything, it would actually make a lot more sense if they let him talk about what they said. Like, sorry for interrupting, but it makes more sense in the sense where, like, think how much more views you're going to get if it's no holds barred. Exactly,
and I think maybe we might see that just because they are running shows where they are a little looser. Like, for example, that talk show that they have with Corey Graves and JBL.
Yeah, like they're like,
what's that called? It's
Bring It to the Table.
Bring It to the Table. Thank you. Yeah, because it's based off the show. Pardon the interruption.
Did you see the one last week? I didn't see it yesterday.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Either yet. But like, apparently, like, they're really gone at each other, like, on some bits and pieces, especially JBL and what's his face, like.
Yeah, and it works well for a SmackDown side and a Raw side, so they can have the little barbs with each other too. So it looks like they are willing to be a little looser on their constraints, so hopefully that can work. And if he does interview the likes of Charlotte, which is upcoming, which after what happened the last couple of weeks I doubt is going to happen, especially with the leaks.
Good points. Yeah.
You know, so that may not happen. But then again, I think Austin would be smart enough not to ask questions about that anyway.
Yeah, but who's gonna? Realistically, I don't think that's a sensitive issue, like, as well. Like, so.
Yeah, that's just one point that could be brought up in an interview.
That's true, but like, realistically, if he's talking strictly about professional wrestling as opposed to behind the scenes stuff, it's something to do with wrestling. Like,
No, I know. So, yeah. I know, but in his other podcast, he doesn't just talk about professional wrestling. He does talk about the personal side. So we'll see anyway. Hopefully, fingers crossed. He does come back, and I would like to see his podcasts again,
of course.
But until then, I'll just do with watching old pay-per-views of him in his prime.
Of course, well, can't go wrong, as I say. Let's move on anyway. You have a story about Samoa Joe this week?
Yeah, the WWE Raw superstar Samoa Joe was a recent guest on the Talk Is Jericho podcast. Also another great podcast. So many ex-wrestlers doing great podcasts nowadays.
I know, it's so many.
It's really, really good, especially like I said, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho. Who else was recently that I saw that was doing it?
Colt Cabana.
He's been doing his for a while. They're really good. Obviously, the CM Punk gets a lot of mentions because the one that he did with CM Punk, but also the one he did with Joe Cabray.
Yeah, or Luther Ward as advertised.
But Luther Ward as advertised.
Let's not break kayfabe in this show.
We always do. What are you talking about? Kayfabe,
try not to.
Kayfabe is not even a thing here. But anyway,
this is interesting. This story is interesting considering kayfabe, though.
Anyway, he was on Talk Is Jericho with Chris Jericho and opened up on several topics, including owning his ring name and what he originally was told by the company upon signing for for WWE and the NXT show especially. He says, in a way, it was kind of like a new ground for the company, for me, and nobody really who was in my position had made overtures to the company, and really they kind of written a lot of us off. I don't think it was out of malice or spite. I just think that they had an edict that they had to follow, and I get that, but it wasn't something that they thought was a possibility. I think Hunter saw the possibility that a lot of people didn't, and it was kind of started from there. They didn't want to sit there and rely on people that had done things in other places. They wanted people to be built and made in the realm of WWE. Like I says, I can understand it. I may not have necessarily agreed with it, but I could get there. I could get where they were coming from. He goes on to say, an effort. I had made an effort before I came here to trademark my name and everything, which makes the process easier because it's kind of like I own it. Then it's easier for me to lease to WWE or to let them use it. So guys who don't own their names, I don't care how long you've been under it for, if you don't own your name, it's not you. So sort of similar to, well, Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen as it is at the moment.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, maybe if he moves over, I had a vision that he might change his name.
I say so. Or Tommy End's now Aleister Black.
Tommy End, Aleister Black. And if you look at it,
Drew Galloway down Drew McIntyre.
Well, he was Drew McIntyre at the start anyway.
That's true.
Always he was. And even looking at the broken Matt Hardy gimmick at the moment,
absolutely,
he doesn't own it and now he can't use it. So it's definitely interesting, the fact that you say he was only there to be hired for NXT to help get over the new talents, which is very interesting too. It's kind of like how some talents were there in the first place. I remember Too Cool were actually there at NXT at the start to help. Is that true? Yeah, they were there. They took part in matches to help the young guys get over too. It just shows that if you just get in there, keep your head down and perform well like Joe has done, he will get called up, and he's done well since he's been called up now so far. Yeah,
and it goes to show you, but the only 2 stars that I know, in fact there's only 3 wrestlers that I know of who have, actually 4, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode's, Nakamura as well, but and AJ and Joe. So there's some names out there I think that will maybe have saw into this, or maybe WWE see the value. And so I'm not seeing them, they're big enough stars, all of these guys beforehand.
Yeah, and that's why we're getting the likes of Drew McIntyre back, and Roderick Strong we're getting in as well. These people from outside have done really well, and probably we're going to see Adam Cole soon as well. So they are realising that there is use for these guys too. So by all means keep it going, and it's kind of like what we want to see. And obviously there's talk about Ricochet coming in soon as well. Yeah. Oh, wow. There's a lot of talk about Ricochet coming in soon. He's they wanted to bring him in now, but the issue was he had a contract with Lucha Underground.
Okay.
And they tape so far in advance that their tapings isn't done till near the end of 2017. Their show will keep airing and he'll be on it.
Okay.
WWE didn't want their other superstars on other shows.
Fair enough.
So they have said once that taping is finished that they're going to bring him in.
Wow.
It's interesting though where they're going to put him. I don't know if you happened to listen to it during the week, but they were discussing it on Wrestling Observer Radio.
Okay.
And there's talk that he might be put on 205 Live. That is not something I want to see. I know they're trying to build 205 Live, but I think if you put Ricochet there, you are going to ruin him.
I see how it's kind of strange to put him in 205 Live, considering he could be in NXT, but
it's going to be NXT for a year, they believe, anyway.
Yeah.
And then he'll move on to the main roster, but when he moves on to the main roster, he'll be 205 Live. I think that's slowly because of his height and his weight, because he is obviously eligible for the cruiserweight division. They want to build that up, but if you go by that means Finn Balor should be in the cruiserweight division then, because he's the height and he is the weight. So I'd kind of like to see him more in the Finn Balor side, where Finn Balor's weight and height is taken out of it. He's not in the cruiserweight division and he's up there with the big guys. I'd prefer Ricochet to be up there too.
I guess it depends on what they look in the superstars. See, the difference between Balor and Ricochet is that Balor has that charisma, that separates him from the cruiserweights. You could argue.
Ricochet has that, I believe.
Compared to Balor, I don't know.
Not compared to Balor, but compared to the other cruiserweights.
Yes, maybe.
Oh, definitely.
It's a strange one. I honestly prefer him to compete in the main roster, but I understand why they put him in 205. Or they want to build it. Imagine him and Neville, and him and TJP, and him and Aries. Those are good matches.
I don't know. I think there's better matches for him on the main roster.
Like what?
Well, first of all, him and Balor, as we mentioned. Yeah. But you could have anyone. The
athletic type of match, though, that he has with Will Ospreay, he's more likely to get into 205, though. So if in that case,
I guess you're right. He is going to have that, but there's more chance of him to expand and have better matches as well.
Maybe.
Like, just for the sake of it, I'd love to see him against Braun Strowman. Just to see how it would work out.
It works. Yeah, the thing is, though, he'd need to know the WWE stuff for that type of match.
Well, that's why he's gone to NXT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it benefits him more and what he's good at by going to 205 Live. In that case, it works. I'm not saying you should say that forever, but it works.
A Drew McIntyre Ricochet match.
Alright.
A Hideo Itami Drew McIntyre. Hideo Itami and Ricochet.
Yeah. There's a lot of matches.
Or if he was to go on, say, here's a good one, Dolph Ziggler.
Well, that's like Nakamura at the moment. Yeah. Why not? We'll have to see what happens there anyway. So let's move on. In the meantime, in an interview with Sports Illustrated's Triple H commented on the style of the Performance Center, with some criticism coming him saying that it lacks individuality. He says, quote, "The misconception is always the same and it's absolutely wrong. We are looking to make our talent as diverse as possible. People say everyone is wearing the same thing and training the same way. Yep, that they are not training the same way. They are grouping together people together to work on building certain skills. The core of what we do is the same. Yes, we have to learn the same skills, techniques and foundation when we start. But when we set you up with people to develop your characters, we want the talent to develop their character, and our job is to help harness the character. We want them, each and every one of them, to be unique and have their own feel." It's an interesting point because, everyone talks about the WWE style, compared to maybe the cruiserweight style, the strong style, or strong style, or the British world of sports style, all the technical wrestling. And WWE is I think that the whole point of the development center or the performance center is so often has that foundation where they're all in the same page. So, but it's interesting though to see that do you think for one they would purposely make everyone wrestle exactly the same? Because I don't think they would.
No, because that's not wrestling. A big part of wrestling is what people can bring to it, different styles. You've just been mentioning, you've brought up a good few examples there. Yeah. There is the lucha style, there's the strong style, like we mentioned as well. There's so many different ones, and that's the great thing about it, that you can see these mix and see some styles work well with each other, some styles don't, and that's the beauty of it. It's these mixing and matches to finding out how it's going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it leaves a standard that everyone knows a certain scale, a certain way of doing a certain thing. Well, everyone else has their own unique style, and that's how it would benefit someone like a Nakamura who's used to a strong style. Even someone like Ricochet coming in and being of a certain way as well. So in a way, it builds everyone to that same style, but don't make everyone the same either. That's kind of silly.
No, because I'll just make it boring and bland, and it would make people stop tuning in.
Yeah, it's
we won't talk about WWE. We'll be talking about Impact and Ring of Honor now.
Oh dear.
Be critiquing them every week, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we want to be positive anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to our other news. First of all, you have a story about Titus O'Neil. Very funny story about Titus O'Neil, actually.
Oh, this would only happen to Titus, wouldn't it?
Poor Titus.
Titus O'Neil is being sued by cameraman Donald Anderson, who worked on the first season of the WWE Network prank show Swerved. According to a report in TMZ, the report notes that Anderson is suing for $1.2 million, alleging that when he was filming a segment on May 18, 2015 involving WWE stars being shocked with a cattle prod, Titus was zapped and kicked the camera out of his hand. Anderson alleges that he was told to leave the premises following the incident for fear that Titus would continue the assault on him, while Anderson is claiming that his hand, his wrist, his fingers were severely damaged in this incident.
On.
Seriously, he's looking for a payday. He's looking for a payday. That's all.
Hand, wrists, and fingers, cover $1.2 million.
Oh yeah, and emotional trauma, obviously, because there's a big guy running after him.
It was supposed to be funny. Like he's taking the negative away. That's just hilarious, man.
I don't know. It's the guy obviously looking for a payday, and it's taken a year.
More than a year.
It's taken a year.
It's 2 years.
This happened in what, May 18th?
Yeah, like it's 2 years.
2 years. Sorry, yeah.
2 years next week. So it's May 13th today. So.
And now you're only deciding to sue. Like what? I don't know.
Does your hand feel like a stranger or something?
I don't know.
I got away with that. I could have, I should say.
Dave.
What?
Just move on.
Brie Bella and Danielle Bryan welcomed their daughter Birdie Jo Danielson to the world on Tuesday, May 9th at 11:58 p.m. The healthy baby girl came to the world at 8 pounds 10 ounces and 21 inches. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations indeed.
Indeed, so.
Well done, DB.
Indeed, yeah.
DB and BB.
Yeah, you're doing well. Like that, they've had their first child. Now, really exciting news happening with New Japan actually this week.
Yeah. Moving on from DB and BB's BB
to NJPW. In addition to announcing the schedule for the Best of Super Juniors tournament, New Japan Pro Wrestling has also revealed more matches for the upcoming Dominion card. Minoru Suzuki will defend his Never Openweight Championship for the first time in a lumberjack match against Hiroko Goto, which is going to be an interesting match. Very interesting match. What's interesting with this match, it says here now that Suzuki Gun and Chaos will be at ringside for it.
Yeah, members of Suzuki Gun and Chaos will presumably be at ringside for the match. Suzuki previously defeated Goto, I should say, for the title at a show late last month prior to New Japan Wrestling's Tony. I'm going to get this, hold on. I tried to get this earlier on and I'm going to get this.
It's not easy, can't you?
Tony Onokuni and the Donkaku events. I think that's right. If it's wrong, I don't care. 2 tag title matches have also been announced for Dominion as well. War Machine will defend their IWGP Tag Team Championships against Gorillas of Destiny. That's going to be a class match.
Indeed.
I can't wait for that. Cursing everywhere. Get the swear jar ready. And also the Young Bucks will challenge Raboki Vice's IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag title, so they're looking to regain their titles that they lost.
I just realised it's a swear jar for the tag title match between War Machine. But you've had a drinking game between that.
Drink every time they curse. It's going to be on 7 in the morning. Like, are you going to be drinking that soon? I'll have a cup of tea.
Yeah, okay, no, we can watch it later that evening or something.
Okay,
like that.
fine, that's fair enough, yeah. You're on there. I think we should film that probably. Also on the card,
extended highlights.
What?
Go on.
No. What was
extended highlights.
Extended highlights. Yeah. Just us. We'll be dead before the main event. by the end of the 7-star match. No, the rematch. But also one more match has been announced for the card. Michael Elgin will face Cody Rhodes.
That's a good match as well. Yeah. So
Cody, sorry, I should say, not Cody.
Has
Rhodes.
Elgin been injured again with his eye socket? Because we haven't seen him in a while.
No, I haven't heard anything. I think maybe he's just taking a break.
Maybe.
I know he's only back and he's taking a break, but maybe they're just not taking any chances with him, which is totally understandable.
Well, really interesting news that came out of New Japan this week as well is that they will be crowning the first ever IWGP United States champion when the company comes to Long Beach, California in July. The announcement was made last night in the ring as they're announcing the co-branded Ring of Honor New Japan Pro Wrestling War of the Worlds pay-per-view at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. There will be a round-robin tournament held over the 2 nights in Long Beach to determine the first champion. Jay Lethal and Hangman Page have already announced themselves into the tournaments, so it's really exciting stuff.
That sounds class. I just wonder, is it going to be solely just for Americans, or will there be like New Japan talent taking part in it as well? I
can't
wonder.
see why they wouldn't have people from Japan competing in the tournaments, because let's not forget, like they had Shibata be the British heavyweight champion in Rev Pro. So but
that's Rev Pro. I don't know, like if New Japan and Ring of Honor will stick it to just Americans, maybe just have like an American presence on the New Japan shows as well. As well as the Ring of Honor title.
Personally, I can't see it in a sense where they would be it would involve Americans as well. It may be first time around. We'll see. Like for all we know, there will probably be all Americans then competing in the tournament. We'll have to wait and see who else is in the tournament as well. So we'll have to see what happens there. Now let's start our results of the week.
Oh my God. He is broken in half.
since it was Marble Zone from OTT.
That's true, yep.
Yeah, might as well mention the music for it. So yeah, Over the Top Wrestling happened in the Tivoli Theatre last Saturday for Marble Zone Act 1. It started very interestingly because at the very start, before any of the matches were announced, they had Be Cool went to Sammy D backstage, excited to get momentum after a loss in Scrapmania 3. Sammy D suggested they both go on singles runs and take a break. It was not very well received either. It was kind of a shock as well.
No, that's not well received at all.
Yeah, so
that's no. Don't do it.
It's too late because the very first match was Al Maxhead against Sammy D. Sammy D, not in his usual gymnastics attire. He had like some sort of black and blue colour wash tights and had like the t-shirt saying Super D or something like that. So
yeah,
and again, it was a very good match. Like great showing from Sammy as a singles wrestler, but then. In fact, it was going his way pretty well until Brian Cora and Carl Curl of the Body Bros ended up attacking him, causing a DQ win for Sammy. And he fought back and he retreated. And guess what his theme song is? It's not unusual from Tom Jones.
That's an odd one.
That's an odd one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So can you imagine someone like doing doing what's your man from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that dance? Carlton's dance and the White Ring. Oh, please do that song.
So is that kind of he's trying to do his own sort of Vince McMahon / Conor McGregor shuffle to the ring? It's going to be different, sort of.
Well, he hasn't actually done that. He didn't actually enter into the ring. He just came in out of nowhere during the entrance of the Body Bros and like, hey lads, how are you? Super kick. Match started. Simple as that. So, and then when he left, I think the surprise of the Fiend came when he left the ring. I'm like, oh, this is a song. Okay, I'm alright with that. Logan Bryce and Justin Shape took on Connor Andrews and Scotty Davis. Good showing from both Andrews and Davis. There's a few people who said the match was very sloppy. I don't see how it was. I mean, there's a few bits and pieces that made. I think that there's one thing that Davis does, I think, where someone's on their hands and knees, I think, and he tries to hop onto their back, and I think he slipped during that, but he made up for it. Like, so it's like, give him credit where it's due. Like, it was like the backbreakers they took. Yeah. My God. Seriously, they were painful looking. They sold them well, is what I'm trying to say. Like, nice. You know, so Just C and Logan won the match. After the match, Just C kept beating on both Scotty and Connor, and guess who appeared out of nowhere on the screen? Pastor William Ever.
What?
I know.
What?
Pastor William Ever appeared on the screen and challenged Just C to a match for Outer Space Odyssey 3 in June. This is not a joke. He came down from the heavens in the screen, and in his accent, Just A. I'll see you in June Fed or something like that. So, and then he appeared down from hell, and then it's just like, I'm not afraid of you. See you June Fed and stuff like that. So
that's crazy.
It's interesting, isn't it?
That is mental.
Yeah. Here's Pastor William Ever, who's the Celtic Championship Wrestling heavyweight champion. Yeah. Is now coming up to Dublin to challenge Just C. How cool is that? That's class. That's interesting, isn't it?
It's really good, because if no one's seen Pastor William Ever before,
he's very good.
He's an awesome wrestler. So good.
He's an awesome wrestler.
So good, and he's so over with the crowds as well.
Former Progress champion, like, you know, so it'll be interesting to see him, and I can't wait to see how it'll be received by OTT crowds. The session with Martina against Alex Winter, of course. Martina looking for payback on Alex Winter over Windsor attacking Martina at Scrappermania 3. Windsor played the heel very, very well, despite all every single bad chance that came her way. And believe me, there was some really good ones that came her way. She took them all gracefully and still played the heel so well. Like, that's like she's brushed them off like they were nothing. Like, you know, so good. Cool. But again, it was Martina who won the match by pinfall. I think she had like a super code breaker or something like that. She came from the middle rope and bang. Yeah. So brilliant way to finish the match. Nice. Now, this is something I was personally delighted over. Zach Gibson's open challenge. First of all, the crowds were not having any of it. They were probably making fun of his accents, like it's from Scrappermania 3. Yeah. When he kept saying, never pales, never won, stuff like that. And you never guess who answered the challenge. Because I was delighted over this.
Oh, I've seen the video of it. I know, yeah.
Jimmy Havoc. Yeah. Jimmy feckin' Havoc. Yeah. Seriously, like, and I remember the place gone dark, and I know his theme song because I have it on my Spotify. I'm like, I've heard this before, and I went I'm like, oh my god, it's Jimmy Havoc, and then no one realised, like, until like 5 seconds later. Only me and Keno Cowell from the front of the ringside realised it was him. 5 seconds later, everyone else, oh, there he is. It had the flashes because he has this curtain entrance in Progress or something like that when he was holding the old Progress Championship. Used to be a plinth or something like that, as opposed to a title belt. And that was like the first days was like the flashes in the background, and it was a great match. Like, you know, like Jimmy Havoc, like is quality to watch. Like he's not the most athletic type of style. Like he wouldn't be like the Will Ospreay style, but he has like that Marty Scurll sort of similar style where it's very physical, it's very technical. Like,
for me, I was talking to a few people about this last week, and for Jimmy Havoc, to see Jimmy Havoc perform, I can't see him, like when I hear Jimmy Havoc was in a match and I don't see the match, I can't see him in a match without some sort of weapon. He's a hardcore wrestler.
By a hardcore standards,
he is a hardcore wrestler
originally, like
So that's how I always imagine Jimmy Havoc in a wrestling match. So I should really watch more of his matches that don't involve it.
See, he had like hardcore. He involved weapons even when he was champion in progress. But like he's a good technical wrestler. Like he's up there with the best of them. Like very underrated in my opinion. Like so. Unfortunately, he lost the match. Gibson won thanks to a distraction, interestingly, from Paul Tracy. So it could be. I wonder if Paul Tracy now could want links now with Zach Gibson now, like for the social elites.
Possibly.
It'd be interesting to see.
Would he be a metal?
I can see it. I can generally see it. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like because someone that size, that presence, someone who doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Like he fit in well in my book. Now, Angel Cruz seemed very upset that he wasn't involved in the match, so he just walked out of the building. Simple as that. It was just like a promo in the middle of it, like okay. So. I see the match into huge boos. Really good match now. Matt Riddle against Kyle O'Reilly. This was a very, very good match. Very good physical match between two men with martial arts backgrounds, kicks and strikes. It was a proper gritty. It was like an American strong style match. Basically, the best way I could describe it. Like but Riddle ended up getting the win. I think it was a submission win. I think it was, or I wasn't actually paying attention to the finish, to be brutally honest. But like it was a really good match overall. Like they embraced in the end. It was quality. Now Marty Scurll against Donovan Dijak. Do you know who Donovan Dijak reminds me of? He reminds me of Test in WWE. Remember him? Yes, that's similar size.
Do I know who Test is from WWE? Do you
remember Test in WWE?
Of course.
similar size, similar style of wrestling. Like and Scurll anyway. It was a typical Marty Scurll match. If you like lots of fooling around, lots of psychology, lots of spots of bothers, if you like. And he won it with the submission with the chicken wing. After the match, he challenged Ryan Smile for the title because he thought to himself, even though I'm a heel, I'm still the most over person in OTT, and he knows that.
Yeah.
Like especially probably now when he goes back, like so. Shay Samuels then made his debut for OTT, taking on Be Cool, who was also making his OTT singles debut.
Yeah.
It was a good showing from Be Cool, but Samuels won by pinfall. Be Cool was still very well received afterwards. Then the main events, the Marble Zone match. So this is how it worked. It was two people from each side started the match. A new person would come out every 2 minutes. So the match started with Ryan Smile and Damien Corvin, and then a new person would come in every 2 minutes. And then I think it was Duncan Desordi who again came in, then Travis Banks, then Bonesaw, and then Chris Brooks. And it was a very good match, Spot City, for as you'd imagine. And the match was won then by Smile and CCK, which is the tag team of Banks and Brooks. And then after the match, Matt Riddle came out and challenged Ryan Smile face to face for the title. And I think that's the match that's going to happen now for Outer Space Odyssey, which is interesting for me because it makes me think, now wait a minute, didn't Skrull just challenge him before that?
Yeah.
And they had a rivalry going back to last year, so it's kind of like, well, what about Skrull?
Exactly.
Like, no,
maybe would they save that match for WrestleRama then? Skrull and Smile to have that match then?
It could be Riddle and Skrull by then, though. That's the thing.
No, I think because the matches that Smile and Skrull have had to culminate it and finish that feud, it was certainly the best in the National Stadium.
It was the best match I've seen last year from OTT. Their second match for sure. So both their matches, in fact.
So I think that'd be the best time to do it. WrestleRama. I think Skrull faces the winner. I think the winner will be Ryan Smile, and I think that will happen at WrestleRama, National Stadium. Finish the rivalry. It'll be their third match as well, won't it?
It'll be the rubber match, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, technically they face each other 3 times because they face each other in one-on-one action. It's 1-1 at the moment. Skrull won.
That's the only time it counts. It doesn't matter if it's tag teams.
Yeah, the Skrull beats Smile in the Fatal 4-Way, also involving Mark Haskins and Tommy Ends. But if you want to count one-on-one matches, then yeah, it's 1-1.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
It will be.
Or even Scar could be involved in the results of the match. Who knows? Like, so make him.
Could be.
I bet Marty Scurll could probably do anything else, and he'll still be able to tell. That's the thing.
Next time he comes out, he'll be coming out in his Bullet Club t-shirt, hopefully, as well.
Oh yeah, or no, it's Bullet Club umbrella.
His Bullet Club umbrella, yeah.
Doesn't need the t-shirt.
By the way, before we just move on, I'm just after getting a look at. Have you had a look at the new United States title?
I have. It's interesting.
It is huge.
Massive, isn't it?
It's bigger than the actual heavyweight title, size-wise.
Yeah, it has a bigger. It has a
bigger plate.
Has a bigger plate. Yeah.
It is massive. Just thought I'd mention that along the way.
I've seen it a bit, with the American flag and all. Like, it's not an American flag. It has the stars and stripes in the middle of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it has the stars and then a little banner says United States and then the stripes and then champion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, the match says that, and is it similar to like the heavyweight title where it has like NJPW in the middle or something like that?
No, that's at the top. At the top it's IWGP and then United States in the middle and then another banner champion at the bottom.
Interesting. Anyway, let's move on with our results with Monday Night Raw.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw.
Before we start, now Raw was fantastic last week, and I feel just off the bat, it feels like it has taken a dip since then. Are you angry compared to the way you were 2 weeks ago?
I'm not angry. It's just, I guess I shouldn't be as angry because this is just the norm.
It's the norm now.
It's just bad. Even during the season, even the time of year when it's meant to be good, it was bad.
It's more the case, I think, where it's more like it's not memorable.
It's just I feel it's just the writers, and it's because the talent that worked over in Smackdown have come over to Raw now have taken a huge step down.
The talent on Raw steps as a step down.
Yeah, no. When you move to Raw, it's a step down. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the likes of say Dean, Miz, Bray, they're probably the big three that have moved over.
Yeah.
Since they've moved over to Raw, it's a big step down for them.
Well, the way the show started, I mean, Dean Ambrose walking down the halls before his phone rang. Kurt was on the phone where it sounded like Kurt made a match, perhaps. When Dean came out to announce the details of the London crowd, where the London crowd chanted Dino to him, which was actually kind of cool. He announced that Kurt is not here, but he's been appointed as the acting GM of Raw for the night. Before Ambrose could talk about his plans, Miz and Maurice came out bemused that Ambrose was appointed acting GM, saying the show will be chaos. And before Ambrose was about to put Miz in the match, Miz interrupted him by saying that Stephanie McMahon called him after discovering Kurt's absence to be co-acting GM of Raw for the night with Ambrose. Ambrose reminded Miz that he will beat him down in Extreme Rules when he defends his IC title against Miz. After Miz bragged about how he beat Rollins and Balor by himself last week, Ambrose offered his hand in sportsmanship, which is kind of which is interesting, I suppose.
Yeah.
Before Miz was reluctantly about to shake Ambrose's hand, Strowman came out with a sling in his left arm from his battles with Reigns. He said he would get what he wants no matter who's in charge. That he's not finished with Reigns unless he can't walk, and intends to end Reigns until his arm is when his arm is healed.
That is a huge. By the way, Strowman's injury, huge mess up to the plans, whatever plans they had.
Yeah,
huge.
Because it's a rotator cuff. That's a pretty bad injury.
It's not a rotator. He actually
was it advertised as a rotator cuff?
Yeah, but his real injury is elbow injury.
Oh, okay.
He's out for 2 months.
It's 4 weeks it hurts.
No. 4 to 6. So it'd probably be about 2 months.
A month and a half, give or take.
So. Yeah. So it's a really, really bad thing for them. They were obviously going to probably do, like you speculated yourself, an ambulance match. But that looks like it's not going to happen anymore. The latest rumours is, and this is why this match has been moved up to next week instead of at the pay-per-view, it's going to be Miz against Roman.
Miz against Roman?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work.
See, in a way, here's what I feel about this match. In a way, this is probably their last chance they'll ever get to try and make Miz over, but it's not going to work.
To try and
even for this,
try and what? Sorry, make Miz over. Miz is so over.
I meant Reigns over.
How are they going to put Reigns over? They're cementing him as the babyface now. because Miz is a heel. He's not going to change.
I know that, but it's going to go opposite way around. Miz is going to be way more cheers.
Exactly.
Than because it's against Finn or it's against Miz. Got him all over the place today.
It's so. But this is the thing I'm concerned about. Does Miz win next week?
For the IC title?
Yeah.
Good.
And then you have Roman going after the IC title?
That's probably what they're doing, actually. That's probably why they're having the title match next week, then, as opposed
to...
to...
No, because they want to end that feud. They have to, so they can move it on. Roman's on.
So kill two birds with one stone, then, and then...
Yeah, but the thing is, if you keep it on Dean, then what does he do?
That's the thing. I don't know.
So...
It makes more sense with Miz at the moment. Or does it?
It don't, like... Realistically, if you look at it, Miz has something to do, so you would say yes. But what Miz is going to be doing, I would say no.
Oh, so defending his title against
Roman?
Vince.
No, exactly. No, I don't want. Why would you want that? And how is he going to? How is that going to be introduced? If you know what I mean.
It's certainly interesting. Like so.
What does he say? Like, there's only one title on this show at the moment because the other guy just doesn't want to show up, so I'm going after you.
Yeah, see, it's kind of strange. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. We have to really wait and see. Like, it's easy to make speculation over that.
Well, let's say, okay, let's play devil's not devil's advocate, but let's fantasy book here. Oh yeah, do you have it?
We haven't played it in ages, actually. Hang on.
Yeah, let's play it.
Let me ask you, do you think that's good for business?
Please carry on.
I have missed that. If Miz doesn't win and Ambrose does win, what does Ambrose do now? This is the thing. Do you nix the plans for Bray and Finn and put Bray in there? Do you put Rollins in there? Do you put Joe in there?
I mean, Joe is against Seth.
Yeah.
Finn I imagine is going to be against Bray.
Yeah.
Miz is with Ambrose and Dean. See, it's so confusing.
It's a mess. It's such a mess.
That's what happens. See, but this is what happened about it. It's not a forced mess. It's not a fest they're causing. It's due to injury. They're stuck right now. Simple. It's logic. So,
but this is the thing. This is what is coming back on Raw now for them not building up more people.
Yeah,
they're stuck now because they do have a pool of talent back there.
They have a lot of talent,
but they haven't used them.
Well, what if they did it in the case where why would they take SmackDown's leading this and just like do push someone?
Do like a Jinder Mahal sort of thing?
Exactly.
Because it's too late now.
Who can they do for that now?
That's the thing. It's too late, and everybody knows. The reasoning behind Jinder's thing, obviously, they're talking about because they're expanding in India, but also because they're trying to give him a genuine chance. People will realise.
Good enough. To be fair, I think yes.
People will realise that. Well, I'm still undecided on whether he's good enough or not, but we'll talk about that maybe when we get into SmackDown.
He's ticked all the boxes for me so far, though.
People would realise if they were to do that here on Raw, that it was only as a stopgap because there's so many injuries.
Yeah.
Like, I would have looked maybe like the way that Cesaro is heel now. If Cesaro and Miz or Cesaro and Ambrose for the title would have worked if he wasn't already a tag team sort of thing at the moment.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, can you think of anyone? You're not going to give Kurt Hawkins a shot. There's no way you're going to give Kurt Hawkins a shot.
I honestly you have to look over their roster at the moment. I don't know off the top of my head. Apollo Crews, but he's probably doing the thing with Titus.
He's doing the thing with Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews is as babyface as it comes.
Yeah, he's vanilla face as you once.
Vanilla face, yeah.
With Spring?
No, his gimmick and personality is vanilla.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it's maybe could give him sprinkles and strawberry sauce.
He hasn't got that sprinkles and strawberry sauce. He hasn't got it.
It could if you push him. No?
If you push him, right, but like they're doing a thing with Titus O'Neil. Nobody wants to see him in a match with Titus O'Neil.
Imagine he's involved in further up in the roster, and like here's Titus O'Neil in the background, taking cameras out of people's hands and being sued for $1.2 million.
That's what they should do next week. They should have,
they have to make
Apollo Crews kick the camera out of Titus's hand when he tries to take a selfie.
That is perfect. Let's just keep doing that. Kalisto came out later on then saying, well, first of all, he said that Braun Strowman, he wanted Brock Lesnar once he's Stuart Reigns, as he's the first to tell him to his face that what he thought of him, which is true. Remember that confrontation after WrestleMania? Kalisto then came out to remind Strowman that although he may be done with Reigns, Kalisto was not done with Strowman, has challenged him to another match after feeling disrespected by Strowman in their dumpster match 2 weeks before. Strowman told Kalisto he only won due to a technicality and he could beat him with one arm. Ambrose made the match between Kalisto and Strowman due to Ambrose's claim. That
promo from Kalisto was just cringe.
Really?
I felt so bad for him with that. It was such a generic promo that just didn't work. And he was pacing up and down as well. It's stand still.
He's angry.
He's an angry little man. I know.
His Latin
blood.
You haven't been someone who has a Latin temper before. Trust me, it's not pretty. Like they pace up and down. They can spit on your face. No, I'm only joking.
Wow. Okay.
I'm saying they're angry. They do not want to see them mad. Like I can call it generic, but I see the value in it. Like sure. Right. If he spoke a bit of Spanish, maybe, but fair enough. I don't know.
Anyway, come on, we move on.
I feel slightly racist right now.
You are hugely racist. We're getting kicked off the air now. Thanks.
After Strowman left, Miz congratulated Ambrose in ending Kalisto's career before Ambrose made a match between Miz and Balor to happen straight away. Terrific technique and agility shown by Balor, both in and out of the ring. By the way, it seems like he, any injuries, even concussions, doesn't bother him whatsoever. Great psychology from Miz. When Miz looked like he had enough of Finn, Miz pushed Finn into the ref, who bumped into Maurice. Miz then, as co-acting GM, forced the ref to disqualify Finn, and before Miz could walk away, Ambrose came out to start the match again. With Maurice barred from ringside, Finn took advantage to beat Miz by pinfall with his coup de grace.
Yep.
It's a good match, it was actually...
The finish was a little...
It was strange.
Meh, but yeah, the match was good though.
Considering the terms of the storyline, it works. I think it was. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Before the match, Nia Jax confronted Alexa Bliss backstage, asking her why she didn't verbally attack her last week compared to the other women. Alexa seemed amused by the whole thing as she claimed she was talking to so many people that it confused her. Nia asked Alexa that if she meant their compliment, that she meant her compliment, and if so, then she gets the next title shot after Bayley. Alexa seemed reluctant to give her the title shot straight away before saying she'll go to Kurt about it. Nia said that she'll be her best friend until then. That is really strange. Isn't it? I like it.
It's playing off their real life friendship as well, which is good.
Yeah,
and I guess it's something different for Nia.
Yeah,
it's something that will just maybe add things. It's not. So it can only help her.
So they're best friends in the meantime. Like they can do Jimmy Fallon impressions backstage in the meantime. So
yeah, it can only help her, and they'll probably rope Mickie James into it and saying like, "Listen, don't trust her. This is she did the exact same thing to me." Blah blah blah. So it might start a little feud between Mickie and Nia Jax.
Yeah, possibly. Alexa had Nia in her corner and Mickie had Bayley in her corner for the match. Very good mannerisms from Alexa, as always.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good at that. Great technique shown by both women. In the end, Nia distracted Mickie before she was sent to the top rope before Bayley cross-bodied her from the steel steps. Alexa knocked Mickie off the top rope and pinned her for the win. What felt like a bit of a botch finish in an otherwise decent match.
Yeah, a little bit of a botch.
Yeah,
it was.
It was a good match.
You're always going to get a botch anyway from Nia.
I feel you kind of feel she's not that. She's improving. It's not as frequent as compared to wrestling someone like Charlotte's. Granted, because the standard is up.
Like we mentioned it before. It's when you get that step up in level, you see her shortcomings.
Sure, we'll have to hope it improves anyway. Let's continue to attack Bayley before Bayley chased her out of the backstage area. Nia then attacked Mickie in the ring after Alexa and Bayley left. So yeah, there could be rivalry between the two there. And again, that's a perfect rivalry for Nia Jax in a lot of ways. Not only is it lower than the women's division, but it's against someone as experienced as Mickie. It can only benefit her. Benefit her. When Ambrose looked like he was controlling the matches made on Raw, including cancelling Miz TV segments with a member of One Direction, apparently. Miz made the match between him and Bray Wyatt. It was later announced that Ambrose would defend the Intercontinental title against Miz for next week on Raw. That's going to be very interesting now instead of Extreme Rules. So
yeah. Well, we just talked about the reasonings behind it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Samoa Joe said that he is not through with Seth Rollins after costing him an IC title shot last week by describing how he will break any bone and ligament in his body. Seth then attacked Joe, leading to a brawl between the two, which was eventually broken up by refs and security. A match was announced between the two shortly after. The two were very aggressive from the start of the match, like really going like hammer and tongs at each other, if you like. Joe looked like a psycho at times, like some of his mannerisms were frightening to look at, like. Joe ended up getting disqualified after he hit Seth against the exposed turnbuckle. Joe continued to attack Seth, putting him in his Coquita clutch, leaving him with the words, "It's over when I say it's over."
Yeah, I don't...
It's just more the same after rivalry.
Like. I know it's more the same with the rivalry, but this is what they want to continue on. I just don't feel it's a good idea to have like the rivalry one-on-one matches on Raw. Those matches are for the pay-per-view. I just don't feel like they should be on Raw as matches. Well, it was a common theme I thought throughout Raw, and a little bit in Smackdown as well. Like, this was meant to be a house show, but they treated it more like one of the live shows. They put on all these matches because
it was in London.
Because I think that's why. Because it was in London, so it was kind of more like a live show than it should have been a house show. It was like these one-off special sort of things. So that's Joe and Seth was one of those matches. They're the matches you should see on the pay-per-view. I don't think you should see it on Raw. You put them in a tag team match against each other and then have them attack them afterwards. Understandable.
Yeah.
A one-on-one match, no.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, alright. But when Braun Strowman and Kalisto then face each other, before the match started, Braun takes the mic by not accepting the match as he's injured due to Reigns, who Strowman called a pathetic coward. The match, however, started with Strowman quick to hurt Kalisto. Roman Reigns then came out to huge boos, as you can imagine. The two faced off in the ring in a very intense stare down before Reigns attacks Strowman's bad arm with 3 Superman punches. Reigns then continued to go after Strowman's arm at ringside using a ring post and a steel chair before Strowman retreated. Now, very interesting about this, and maybe it's just the London crowds, but there's a few cheers for Reigns.
Yeah, but that'll go back quickly, no worry about it.
Well, it depends how he's booked, but maybe the way they're booking him could be a turn.
Well, if the way he's booked is the way that everyone expects him to be booked, it's not going to last long. Those cheers. You know, badass Roman beating up guys people liked. That's why you got the cheers. But next week he's going to go back to babyface Roman, which no one can stand.
Yeah.
And it's just the way, and like it's like that sort of thing where, remember on Low Blows, Rick would always say, "This is the week John Cena is going to turn heel." Everyone's thinking this is the week Roman Reigns is going to turn heel. It's not going to happen. He's going to stay babyface. They're going to keep pushing it through.
Or at least if they do it, it's going to be out of nowhere.
Sorry.
Actually, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that one. I'm on fire with the puns today.
I know.
The number one contender tag team turmoil match. Goldust reminded R-Truth about Kurt's inspiring words the week before and how they must prove that they can also turn back the clock like the Hardys did. Enzo and Kaz first took on Sheamus.
That was a really good backstage setting.
It was, wasn't it?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I heard, believe it or not, Goldust and R-Truth's ring loss record is actually better than you might think. You know that? Apparently they've won way more than they've lost. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah. You don't realise that. Like, I think the only matches they lost were tag matches or tag title matches or something like that. But the match started off with Enzo and Kaz against Cesaro and Sheamus. Cesaro forced Enzo to tap with the sharpshooter. Enzo, Heath Slater and Rhino then came out. Cesaro made quick work of them, which is Sheamus pinning Heath after his bro kick. Anderson and Gallows came out then. Awesome suplex from Cesaro on Gallows. Like that one where he had him up for like 10 seconds.
He's like, so strong, Cesaro.
Must be the strongest.
Oh, I think he is.
Gallows and Anderson also almost beat Cesaro with the Magic Killer before Cesaro countered it, and Sheamus beat Gallows by pinfall after another bro kick. Goldust and R-Truth then came out. R-Truth almost beat Cesaro with his scissors kick before R-Truth hit his head against the turnbuckle, leading to a roll-up pin by Cesaro for the win in an overall very good match between all the teams. All the teams really made their mark in the match, in my opinion, like, you know, like for better or worse.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. I don't think Slater and Rhino got a chance to, but they were never really going to anyway. But the other teams, I think, did show. I think they're trying to show that the tag team division isn't as bad on Raw as people are making it out to be.
I think it's the best out of the two of them right now, but not by much. Like, you know, I
think once the New Day comes into it on SmackDown, then we'll see a big improvement on the SmackDown.
Well, I overall think the best overall tag team in SmackDown is the Usos
by far,
by a mile. So they have the best tag team in WWE, but overall the best division is Raw at the moment. So Sheamus and Cesaro continued to attack R-Truth and Goldust after the match, and when the Hardys went after them, Cesaro and Sheamus retreated again. The cruiserweights now. Neville talked to TJP via Facebook Live before Raw, saying that he must prove to be a challenger for Neville's title. If he beats Jack Gallagher, then he'll do the rest.
I thought that was a little disappointing that Neville didn't get to perform in his home country
at all.
Raw.
Yeah, or 205.
Yeah, thought it was a bit bad. Now, I think they're in Newcastle tonight, and he might. No, that's the SmackDown brand that is in Newcastle tonight, so he won't even get performing.
He was in the live shows, I suppose, like and stuff. But you're right. I see what you mean. Neville was in commentary for the match between TJP and Jack Gallagher. Gallagher almost beat him straight away with his headbutt after they mocked each other. Great technique and mannerisms by both men. TJP countered a roll-up with the help of a handful of tights to pin Gallagher for the win. TJP then attacked Gallagher after the match before Austin Aries, in a knee brace, attacked TJP before he retreated. So, Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox, very physical.
Which also, by the way, not happy with that either.
Which?
Having Jack Gallagher lose in his own country.
Yeah, they're all losing, aren't they?
I'm not happy with that. I thought they were only doing it to the women's division. No, they're doing it to 205 Live as well, I guess.
It's like everyone loses in their home country, though.
Yeah.
Or their hometown.
Like, why? Why?
But it's more disappointing if it's Jack Gallagher, is it?
No, it's just because the other ones were for titles, and okay, there was a lot of backlash over Bayley losing it and stuff, but I knew that was going to happen because it was the same with Sasha and Charlotte. Sorry, I can't get my words out today. But this was a pretty nutting match.
Yeah.
You could have given the win to Jack Gallagher. I think they should have. It's like he was so over with the crowd. Just give him the win.
Yeah.
He's in his home country. Do it. Like, when TJP is in LA, are they gonna make TJP lose?
It's because, like, Jack Gallagher's character represents his country, so that's why it makes more sense for him to lose in the UK, maybe.
I don't know. I know they're trying to get as much heat behind TJP as possible at the moment.
If TJ Perkins, if WWE did a live show in the Philippines, then TJP has to lose. You know, because that's where his bloodline. I don't know if he was born there or he was.
Who, TJP?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, no, he's from LA.
Yeah, but he was born in Philippines, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Move on anyway. Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox, a very physical match from the start. Can you imagine those two in real life actually, like, going at each other? Sasha won by pinfall after a double knees to the chest from the middle rope, and what looked like an enhancement match for Sasha. It looked like a bit of a blotch pin though, because
this better not be the start to a feud. This better not be. This better just be a botch and not a start of something. It looked
like Alicia kicked out during the pinfall. It could go with that though pin. It looks like he could easily go that way.
Do not do that. No. Do not. I don't want to see a Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox feud.
It's a step up for Elite. Well, you know, I don't know.
No,
I can see how the two of them as going at each other like that can work as a storyline, but I don't know. I have to see what happens with it. Like, you know, I'm kind of with you in a sense, but I'd like to see what happens as well. Then Dean Ambrose and Miz in the main event. Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt in the main event. Miz and Maurice were in commentary during the match. Bray is back in black, you'll be relieved to know. So,
yay.
George, I like him with his dirty white bib. Or his white vest.
The dirty white vest. No, because he's not relaxing at home. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's his work clothes.
Oh yeah, his work. That's his
home comfort clothes, and then the black and the red is obviously his work clothes.
Black vest is his uniform.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah, it's like a black. It's like everyone's encouraged to go in their suits into the office in WWE. Here's Bray Wyatt with his vest. See my vest. See my black work vest. Excellent psychology from Bray, as always. Miz left commentary for ringside during the match, which almost distracted Ambrose. Ambrose ended up diving on Miz during the match before Miz hit Ambrose with the IC title when the ref was distracted. Bray would then beat Ambrose by pinfall after his sister Abigail. Miz would then attack Ambrose after the match and declare that he will beat Ambrose for the IC title next week. Now, just one other bit I want to say about Raw before we move on. Michael Cole, I thought, was awfully confrontational during the commentary. What he was saying in particular to Neville, like, he was really giving. He
was going at him, wasn't he?
Yeah,
really was.
Yeah, he was giving some really harsh questions on Neville and Miz in particular. I'm starting to think Michael Cole should actually commentate in England, because that's where he's at his best. WWE UK, and now when Raw is in London. Think about it.
He wasn't really confrontational though on the WWE UK one, was he?
He was. He was being. Was he really? He was giving tough questions to Miz and Neville. Do you not notice how
Miz wasn't there
during Ambrose and Wyatt's
match? No, I'm talking about the UK Championship. He wasn't confrontational.
But he was better at it. He was a better commentator. He wasn't given too much a script to say, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, but whatever the case, he's better in England. He is better in British soil. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Maybe he should stay over there.
Maybe.
But he's not, because Jim Ross is doing the commentary for the UK Championship. Which is good. Him and Nigel McGuinness. That'll be very interesting. Which, by the way, the date has been announced for the first show on the WWE Network.
Oh, when is it?
May the 18th.
May the 18th. That's only...
So, it's 5 days away.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what's that? That Thursday?
That's Thursday. My God, there's too much wrestling.
There is.
We have a new thing to cover next week.
Oh, God. And I'm not even getting
Raw,
to see 205 Live,
Smackdown, 205 Live, NXT, and WWE UK. It just gets better.
And then when there's weeks, there's OTT shows or CCW shows or there's pay-per-views.
Last week we had all
and then when the Best of the Super Junior starts as well.
It's going to be fun.
I think it's a good thing that we're after getting
2 hours to do this.
Getting 2 hours to do the show, because we would not have fit everything.
Can you imagine creeping all this into an hour?
I know, right?
We're already an hour 15 through now, and now we have to talk about WWE SmackDown.
I know. Let's do it.
To the premiere show, SmackDown.
I don't know about you though, I'm enjoying this. So again, the show started with Randy Orton coming out saying he lost a payback because of Jinder Mahal, and he will beat Mahal at Backlash after he took his title from him a couple of weeks ago. Mahal then came out to say he simply took what was his, showing off his promotional pictures when he had the title in his possession, and how no one will ever disrespect his people after he wins the title and the age of the Maharaja begins. But before Mahal was about to speak in Punjabi, Owens came out saying that no one cares about the House of Horrors, India or England, and all they care about is him as the face of America. He also boasted how he ended the career of Jericho and how he plans to end AJ Styles' career, and then go after whoever's WWE champion after Backlash, saying he will be the face of WWE as well as America. AJ Styles then came out saying that Owens described how he'll be WWE champion in French. When Owens he reminded Owens that although he hurts Jericho, neither Jericho and Owens is AJ Styles, and how Owens will never be the face of SmackDown Live like AJ is. And then Baron Corbin out of nowhere came out to put his name in the conversation, only to be attacked by Sami Zayn, like from their attack from his attack 2 weeks ago. AJ attacked Owens, and Mahal then got DDT'd by Orton before B&B security. Which I'm actually sticking to.
I'm trademarking that name. It's B&B security from now on.
Dragged them out from it. Afterwards, it was announced Styles, Orton, and Zayn will take on Owens, Mahal, and Corbin in a 6-man tag. It was a funny segment with Zayn then being too intense before the 6-man tag, trying to visualize the match with AJ and Orton beside him.
That was ridiculous. I hated it.
Do you not like that side of Sami Zayn?
No, I didn't at all.
I like the fact that they're trying to show him the side of him outside of just being the wrestler, like because a lot of people are kind of, oh no, he's all, like backstage, especially if you watch the up down videos where he comments and complains about a lot of stuff. Might as well show it for real, so especially when he was talking to Kurt Angle before he left, remember that?
Yeah.
So, not with it though.
No, not with that sort of stuff backstage now.
Fair enough. James Ellsworth sounded hilarious when he was trash talking when he was alongside Carmella and Tamina introduced Natalia. It's kind of strange that James Ellsworth's trash talking.
Yeah,
the tone of it sounds like he was a child.
He is a child.
Yeah.
He's a man-child.
Naomi came out to introduce Becky Lynch to even the sides for the Becky Lynch's match against Natalia. Charlotte then came out before the match started to be in Becky's corner as well, saying she needs to have an introduction. Very physical match between the two, as will always be in a Lynch-Natalia match, despite your feelings with Natalia. How's it go again?
No.
Did she deserve
No.
Did she deserve the introduction?
No.
Very good.
No.
Let's move on. That's very good mix-up of offense from Becky, from strikes to suplexes. Becky went to the middle rope before she was distracted by goings on at ringside, including Naomi pushing Tamina away before being carried back to the corner by Charlotte. Natalia took advantage by tripping Becky to bump hard on the canvas and pin her for the win in a very weird finish.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really strange way to finish that match.
Yeah, I can't see this whole face Charlotte thing lasting long.
Apparently WWE officials are rumoured to be reconsidering it now.
Yeah, I think they should. I think she's better as a heel. I think they should keep her as a heel.
After the match, Naomi and Charlotte argued backstage about the decision before Becky made them realise that they're falling for the same trap that Natalia and co are putting them under, and reckon that if they bond, that they will bond if they challenge them to a 6-woman tag team match at Backlash, and both Naomi and Charlotte accepted. So maybe it could lead up to the 6-man women tag team
it's happening. Yeah, I think after the match then she'll go after Naomi, or during the match she might cost Naomi the match. It's going to be hard to predict in the prediction league, but I'll think of something beforehand. Now,
this is probably the highlight of the whole show: the Fashion Files special London units. Or listen, it just can't go wrong. It's too funny.
It's fantastic. It's a great way to build them up as well. It's
fantastic.
It's so good.
They're by far the most over tag team on SmackDown.
Yeah.
If not the most over people on SmackDown.
Yeah.
You could argue overall the most over people like there, but it was just brilliant. Like, and again, they're believable as a tag team now after seeing the match as well. Like, so in this case, they were backstage in the O2 looking at a spilt drop of face paint, whilst Tyler was dressed up as London Bobby and Fandango was dressed up as Sherlock Holmes. They concluded that the Usos were the prime suspects.
I thought that was Holmes and Watson.
No, Watson never was a London Bobby. He had. He was a former soldier. That's what he was. Sorry, yeah. You ever seen the new Sherlock Holmes movie, where it was Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law? Yeah. So if Tyler Breeze dressed up as Jude Law or Watson in that, then it would have worked. Yeah. Or even gave one of them a top hat or something like that. Didn't Sherlock Holmes have a top hat? He did, yeah. Yeah. Work around it. They were debating if the Usos were the prime suspects, as they haven't worn face paint in months, before hearing shouting in one of the locker rooms, and when they opened the door to discover it was just the Ascension shouting at each other to get them ready for themselves, saying that the case is now not reopened. Yeah, I remember that. That was so strange. Actually, when they discovered that, like, it's like, what do you want? Later on, Fandango and Brisbane got a fantastic cheer from the crowd. Like, you know, the London crowd really loved that theme. Like, we talked about a few weeks ago, their song being like top of the almost like in the top 50 in England. Like, you know, yeah. In fact, it wasn't the top. It was almost in the top 40 minutes. Yeah, Fandango pinned Connor by pinfall. After the last dance drop kick, the Usos then came out saying that in 12 days they'll have a lot of things done, from getting their arses kicked to getting their back shaved. I love that. Very, very solid promo. I love that. That was a fantastic
in 12 days you can watch each other's backs. In 12 days you can lick each other's backs. 12 days you can wax each other's backs. 12 days you can. What was the other ones? 12 days. 12 days. You're gonna look behind you, and who's gonna be? It's gonna be the Ooze in 12 days. Oh, so good. So good. That was promo of the week. Yeah, actually. So both. That's probably the most anticipated match going to Backlash, with the exception of Nakamura. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Speaking of Nakamura, anyway, he came out saying, Dolph Ziggler came out saying the crowd are hypocrites because he feels the crowd disrespected him despite his credentials, and how he doesn't get why the crowds chant for Nakamura despite not having a match on SmackDown yet. He went on to say that he never needs the WWE universe before calling out Nakamura.
Dolph told Nakamura that he either put up or shut up before Nakamura told him to shut up and challenged him to a match right then. When it looked like the match was going to happen, Dolph refused, saying he'll expose him for the fraud that he is at Backlash. Dolph then attacked Nakamura before Nakamura fought back. Ziggler then retreated after getting a taste of what Nakamura is all about. He really got a good idea when Nakamura was there with like his strikes, like especially his knees when he's on the ground. So he's really good at that actually.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the way someone in Pride would do that with like like getting up and down from it, like, you know.
Yeah.
Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, very good agility from Harper. Like he really can move for a big man, can't he?
Yeah.
Rowan was trying his mask as a weapon before the ref grabbed it off him. This distracted the referee when he didn't see Rowan thumb Harper in the eye and then go for the spinning slam for the pinfall win. It was kind of a unusual finish, we'll say.
It's an unusual, sloppy.
I won't say sloppy. It was just it was. Is that it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's leaving it open for a feud.
I'm open to that. No.
Jury's still out on it. I'll give it a chance. But I need to know why they're having a feud. Like, I'd like to get some context behind it, not just that, oh, we were in a match together and I didn't like the finish, so I'm going to feud with you. I kind of like some more context.
Yeah.
Bring back the history of the Wyatts. Fine,
Perfect.
do that.
Yeah, okay. In other bits and pieces now, Mojo Rawley gave a few kids a tour backstage talking about the Andre the Giant showing him his trophy. It was funny when the kids kicked him actually after scaring him. But what I liked about this promo, like, say what you like about Mojo Rawley, like being like how unusual he is, but he makes some interesting points about Andre the Giant being different and how he used that to his benefits rather than being using it to his disadvantage. I thought that was a good promo.
Yeah, but Andre the Giant didn't go around leopard print baggy pants.
So what? Like, that's he's using it as an excuse now to still wear them, is what I'm trying to say. And it's a good. I like what he said. Like, that's for me now. Like, I don't know about what anyone else thinks about this, but for me, certainly if you have a child watching this, that's someone you could follow for that reason. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe.
I don't know. I can't get into it.
Do you see where I'm coming from, though?
I can see where you're coming from, but I just can't get into it. I can't.
No, you're right. I understand how the adult Democrat won't be able to get into that, but like, for that point of view, it can appeal. That's why maybe he's so high with officials at the moment. So beyond that, Rusev took to Twitter saying that he's being ignored by Shane McMahon over his request to get a WWE title shot, and he'll be on SmackDown next week to get an answer. So we're finally get to see Rusev back, which will be interesting now. It's like Rock will certainly use him, actually, considering their new injury crisis, we should say.
Yeah.
And in the main events then, Mahal, Corbin and Owens against Orton, Zayn and Styles. In an entertaining match, Mahal pinned Orton with his Cobra Clutch Slam for the win. So it certainly makes now Mahal definitely strong now going into that match now, or certainly going to SmackDown before the match. So
yeah,
anything could happen now with regards to that.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, it's still not something I'm hot on. So I think Jinder, like, what they want is a strong, stable heel team there, and they're trying to get in that with obviously the B&B security and Jinder, and I don't know what they're going to maybe call them India's finest. I don't know, I don't care, but I don't know, it's just I think his in ring, I think he's just too
stiff. Not
stiff, maybe a little stiff, but just
too physical,
too boring. I find it's just like, we're talking about styles and how WWE have a style and stuff like that. I think his style is just, I don't know, maybe it's just Randy Orton, or I don't know, but his style is just not entertaining to me at all. And it was the same when he was having his little thing with Rusev as well. I could never get into anything he was involved in, and I still can't.
Well, let's put it this way: would you know Jinder Mahal more for the character or for the wrestler?
Character.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
that's the thing. See, a lot more people have that appeal because of their wrestlers, and the character, no matter how good the character is secondary. Yeah. In this case, it's not the case, though. So let's move on to 205 Live. Jack Gallagher addressed his fellow Brits, talking about how he got attacked by TJP, and the night before introducing Austin Aries, he showed his appreciation for Aries by offering him his services against TJP and Neville. He then offered Neville a pint of beer, which was encouraged by the crowds to down, which encouraged him to down it before he got booed for when he said that he's a red wine guy. How French is that?
Yeah.
Gallagher.
Well, he went into some real good points as to why he prefers red wine.
Yeah. What do you say? It's like a
sugar.
There's good sugars in it or something.
No, I can't remember. It was something that's very healthy for you.
Yeah. No, I know for a fact it's good for you. Gallagher proposed a toast to Aries and encouraged the crowd to sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Neville then interrupted with his pyro, giving Gallagher a fright. You didn't see this bit, did you? It's like,
no.
Bloody hell.
No. I did. No, I did hear that. Sorry, I did.
Yeah. He commented on how he once thought Gallagher was once a parody of an Englishman before saying that he's a symptom of a much larger problem. He then commented on London losing its dignity. Aries was then quick to remind him that his dignity was lost when he got himself disqualified at Payback. Neville then suggested to Aries that he would be his last appearance in 205 Live before TJP and Neville attacked Aries and Gallagher. The brawl continued between them until Gallagher and Aries fought back to make Neville and TJP retreat before they sank their points. So they sank their points afterwards. So.
Come on.
And
always remember the points.
There's only 2 matches in the whole of 205 Live, and it was like half the show was like segments. And the backstage segment, which Swan confronted Noam Dar and Alicia Fox backstage, wondering what parts of Dar's body was he thinking from. After they talked about how Swan's plans didn't work, Swan said that they both deserved each other before Dar said that Swan will get what he deserves. So it looks like that rivalry is going to continue, and I like that. Like Rich Swann and Dara, like they're that works for me.
How long is it until Cedric Alexander comes back?
I say it can't be too far away. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't. It was.
I think he was posting online somewhere that he is close to a return.
It was announced actually on this that he's to return soon. So they're advertising his return. So it could be any week now, for all we know. Tony Nese took on Mustafa Ali. Drew Gulak once again seemed bemused by Ali's style of offense when watching the match backstage. Fantastic strength and agility shown by Nese. Nese is a man for the future.
Yeah,
definitely a man for the future. He's too good. He's far too good. They have to make him champion soon, like whenever.
Give him a decent push though, and give him a decent gimmick, and get rid of those baby blues if he's going to be a heel.
Yeah. Despite a strong showing from Nice, Ali won by pinfall after his inverted 450 splash in a very good match. It was actually a great cruiserweight match. Like, those two can really put one on. And the main event was Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick. Terrific strikes from Tozawa. He reminds me a wee bit of Tajiri. He doesn't have the solidness of the kicks, but he has that scary presence. He's that intimidating. He's the intimidating presence of him.
And he was trained by Tajiri, wasn't he?
Oh, was he?
I think so.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tozawa reversed Kendrick's sliced breads 2 for the roll-up pinfall win. Kendrick attacked Tozawa immediately after the match and continued to attack him at ringside by pinning him between the steel steps. He then gave Tozawa his final lesson: nobody messes with Brian Kendrick. So, for all we know, this could be the end of the rivalry unless there's one more match. Who knows? At NXT then, Aleister Black took on Cesar Bononi from Brazil, I think he was from. 6'6" as well. He was a big guy. But Black looks scarier. It looks scarier and scarier every time he gets into the ring, though. Great showing from Bononi, but he made Black look very good with a series of strikes, especially that black mass kick at the end.
That was vicious, wasn't it?
But this guy Bononi, he sold it very well. Yep. I'll keep an eye on for him for sure. It was announced that Ember Moon will miss NXT Chicago due to a grade 1 shoulder sprain thanks to Asuka's attack the week before, and she'll be out for 4 to 5 weeks.
Yep.
When interviewed, she said she'll be better than ever. Nikki Cross then was interviewed as well, and she showed very funny behaviour in what was supposed to be a sit-down interview by scaring the sound technicians, playing with the microphone and constantly asking where is Ruby, Asuka and the NXT women's title. She was literally this close to the camera, and it was like, she's like this. Ruby. No, the mic thing didn't fall down like she did.
Thanks for knocking the guard off the mic there. Yeah.
The guard didn't fall off in her case. It would have been funny, but there you go. It was also announced that Pete Dunne will challenge Tyler Bate for the UK title in Chicago, NXT Chicago, after he beat Trent Seven in a title eliminator in Norwich during WWE's European tour. It's going to be a hell of a match.
Can't wait for it. The repeat of the final of the UK Championship.
Indeed.
I think that maybe Pete Dunne's going to take that.
I like his chances as well.
Yeah.
Drew Galloway, when asked about the NXT title eliminator between Roderick Strong and Hideo Itami, he said he was a bit disappointed, but that he's not involved, but says that he's learned from being in the Indies that if he wants something, he must make it happen himself. Wesley Blake, of all people, confronted him, saying that he deserves a second chance more than Galloway and that he should leave.
Yeah. There's rumours that I didn't see NXT this week, but Wesley Blake, there was talk of him getting a new gimmick, sort of like similar to. Did you ever see the movie The Crow?
Yes.
Similar to looking like the Crow. Did he have that sort of look?
No.
No.
So, yeah, but the Crow came. It was what Sting did.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be interesting to see how that works.
Mm-hmm.
DIY once again stated that they still deserve their rematch against Authors of Pain for the NXT titles, and that the line to challenge Authors of Pain starts with DIY. Tino Sabbatelli and Riddick Moss interrupt them, saying that the line now starts behind them. DIY then attacked Sabbatelli and Moss, but starting an improv tag match between the two.
They fully announced that they were at the back of the line. That's what they said.
Who? No, they said that the line starts with them. They
the line starts with them going to the back. They're at the back, they're saying. I think that's they didn't mean it to come out that way, but that's what it sounds like.
It was a very great physicality and teamwork shown by Sabbatelli and Moss. They're a very good team, so they have a future for sure. But despite this, DIY won the match with Ciampa pinning Moss. After the match, Regal came out to saying that only one team deserves to challenge the NXT for tag titles in Chicago. Paul Ellering and Officer Pain came out with Ellering saying that DIY's careers will be over if they go back in the ring with Officer Pain, with Regal saying that that's a risk he's willing to take. Ellering stated that DIY's blood will be in his hands. Regal announced that Officer Pain will defend their tag titles against DIY in a ladder match in Chicago.
Be a good match. It'll be very interesting to see how that works. It's a nice legitimate way for the Authors of Pain to lose, because if it's a ladder match, it's a stip match, so it's not a one-on-one. It keeps them strong, so I wouldn't be surprised to see DIY win that.
Absolutely, should be interesting indeed. In other bits and pieces, Cassius Ohno was challenged Andrade Almas to a match for next week after confronting him when Ohno was being interviewed following his title match loss to Bobby Roode recently. And obviously the main event itself, Hideo Itami against Roderick Strong. Terrific backbreaker variations and use of submissions from Strong. He's a really solid wrestler. He's definitely one I can see being an NXT possible. No, if not a challenger, definitely a champion. One to two, for sure. Especially the way they're pushing him at the moment.
When it happens, when he gets moved up, do you think he'll go on the 205 Live roster? We were talking about Ricochet earlier, how it would be a bad thing for him. I think it'd be a bad thing if Roderick Strong went on the 205 Live roster as well. Again,
I can understand in terms of match quality why he would go there, but I don't know. You'd want him in the main roster, but I don't know. I'm very in between.
The 205 roster would need him, because at this moment it is starting to get stale, because we are seeing the same matches over and over again.
It's a thing.
It needs new people.
Yeah, badly.
Do you put maybe some of the UK Championship stars in there too?
Why not? Why not put in
You can put in all of them.
Yeah, you could put any of them in. They're all most of them are
they're all under the. I think they're all under the 205 limit anyway. So
put Pete Dunne in there. Why not?
Not if he's UK champion.
Yeah. Well,
what about the others? Is Trent Seven under the limit?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm not sure. Anyway, maybe
Mark Andrews. Definitely.
Definitely. Oh, Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And well, question. In a very physical and entertaining...
Jordan Devlin, just putting that out there.
Tucker as well.
Yeah.
They can all go out there. In a very entertaining and physical match, though, Tommy pins Strong after his GTS for the win and title shots against NXT Chicago. Tommy and Strong hugged it out after the match, so there's definitely a lot of respect there. So now we're going to move on with something different. Before we used to do profiles of WWE superstars, we're reintroducing that this week with, because he's left WWE now to continue his tour with Fozzy, we might as well give him a brief mention, because he's been one of our favourite wrestlers over the past year. He really has. So this one's for Y2J Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. Undeniably one of the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho has had a lengthy wrestling career that has lasted nearly 3 decades, yet he's still at the top of his game today. He's accomplished nearly everything possible in the wrestling business, yet he continues to entertain fans with his amazing character and ring work. Christopher Keith Irvine was born in Manhasset, New York, USA in November 9th, 1970. Despite being raised in the US, Chris holds Canadian citizenship and was raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. His father was New York Rangers hockey legend Ted Irvine, which explains why he was born in the States. As a kid, Chris first became a fan of wrestling after first watching it alongside his grandmother, as well as watching local events in Winnipeg. His favourite wrestlers back then were Ricky Steamboat and Shawn Michaels, and called both of them as inspirations in becoming a wrestler. Interestingly, Chris said he was never a big sports fan because he didn't like the concept of a team and instead preferred individual athletes and characters. Irvine was also a big fan of rock music and inspired to be a musician at a young age too. He would go back and forth with his two passions, but he knew as early as 12 years old that he wanted to pursue one of them, if not both. In pursuit of his musical passions, Chris would play in bands throughout school and would take any gig he could. The same could be said about his wrestling, as he first started working as part of a ring crew for a local promotion before starting his own promotion out of a gymnasium where he and his friend each played multiple characters. They were mostly just doing it for fun, but it showed that wrestling was something that Chris wanted to pursue. After being told to have a backup plan by somebody in the wrestling business, Chris went to Red River College in Winnipeg, where he earned a degree in journalism and graduated with top honours. With his education completed, Chris decided to move to Calgary to get serious about his wrestling. At the age of 19 years old, Chris entered the Hart Brothers School of Training, where he immediately met Lance Storm. He would be trained by Ed Lanley and local wrestler Buddy Young, and would make his wrestling debut just 2 months later in local promotions in Alberta. He originally went under the name Cowboy Chris Jericho and wrestled his very first match against Lance. The name Jericho came from an album titled Walls of Jericho by German power metal band Helloween. Soon after, the two began tagging together, wrestling across Alberta and Manitoba in 1990. In 1991, the two ventured out in Japan to compete for Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling as the duo Southern Impact. In 1992, Chris went down to Mexico, where he competed under the names Golden Lion and Lionheart, both in Spanish. He most notably wrestled in CMLL in Mexico, where he would have an 11-month reign as NWA middleweight champion. After leaving Mexico for Germany, he would be rejoined by Lance Storm as the Thrill Seekers in Jim Cornette's SMW promotions, where they notably feuded with the Rock and Roll Express. In 1995, Chris would head back to Japan, where he would win the Wrestling Association OR's International Junior Heavyweight title, but lost it to Ultimo Dragon a month later. Chris would also notably compete in the Super J Cup, but lost to Wild Pegasus, aka Chris Benoit. Chris would, however, become tag team champion soon after, but lost them to Lance Storm. Also through 1995, under the recommendation of Benoit, Dave Meltzer and Perry Saturn, Jericho landed a shot with ECW. Paul Heyman was impressed by how many people believed in the young Canadian, with even Mick Foley raving about his match with Ultimo Dragon in Japan. Jericho would quickly win the ECW World TV title in June 1996, only to hold it for a few weeks. He would go on to wrestle the likes of Sabu, Rob Van Dam, Mick Foley and Taz, which slowly but surely garnered the attention of WCW. On August 26, 1996, Jericho made his first appearance on WCW Nitro. He would wrestle Chris Benoit just a few weeks later in his first pay-per-view before being shipped back to Japan in 1997 as part of a talent exchange program. It was there where he was known as Super Liger, the masked nemesis of Jushin Thunder Liger, which was not very well received. Once he returned to WCW in the summer of 1997, he would win his first of 6 WCW Cruiserweight titles. He would nobly feud with Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera and most significantly, Dean Malenko. It was during his feuds with Malenko, who was called the Man of 1,000 Holds, that Chris became the Man of 1,004 Holds. It was worth noting that Jericho refused to wrestle Malenko throughout the feuds. In 1998, Jericho debuted a huge set of papers that listed every single one of the 1,000 folds he claimed he knew. Of course, many of these were either made up or repeated, but the list itself was iconic.
Since I took care of Mr. Jannetty so quickly, I came prepared. Excuse me. Malenko, you claim to be the man of 1,000 holds, but I counted, and you know about 60, but I know 1,004, and I wrote them all down. Here we go. Hold 1, arm drag. Hold 2, arm bar. Hold 3, the moss-covered, 3-handled family gradunzel.
Why doesn't he just mail us this list and we'll announce it?
Arm bar.
He's just ranting.
Number 5, the Saskatchewan spinning nerve hold.
This must be meathead microphone night. You think so?
He's got
998 to go.
9,
Get the hook. We're out of here. Shut up.
When Jericho finally wrestled Malenko after putting it off for so long, he won, before being forced to wrestle a mystery opponent which turned out to be Malenko in one of the loudest pops in WCW history to beat Jericho for the title. Jericho would eventually beat Malenko again for the title, only to lose it to Juventud Guerrera. After a stint as World TV Champion, Jericho began to become frustrated with WCW and its booking. This frustration would eventually build up until he left WCW to sign with WWE in June 30th, 1999. Jericho would make an epic debut which featured a countdown clock, supposedly counting down the new millennium. When the clock struck 0, Jericho appeared by cutting off The Rock's promo. He would quickly establish himself as a badass heel, claiming that Raw is Jericho. Jericho's first real long-term feud in WWE was with Chyna for the Intercontinental title. After losing to her at Survivor Series, he would eventually capture the belt at Armageddon. This was followed by controversy though, as it made Jericho and Chyna co-champions, but Jericho would then unify the belt at the Royal Rumble. After losing his title to European champion Kurt Angle, he competed at WrestleMania 2000 against Kurt Angle and Benoit in a 2 falls match, in which Jericho won the European title but not the Intercontinental title. He would however lose the title to Eddie Guerrero the next day. A similar thing happened to him when he won the Intercontinental title again before losing it to Benoit 4 days later that year. Moving forward, Jericho and Benoit would become tag partners and win the WWE tag titles from Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Did not work. Austin looking for the stunner. Jericho countering Austin. Oh, he hit the lights off. The referee's going to handle. Triple H has got the damn sledgehammer. Not this again. No. Triple H hit Austin inadvertently. Benoit took Austin down. Jericho's got the cover! No! Jericho's got the no! Benoit and Jericho have done it! Benoit and Jericho have done it!
New World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit.
They would defend the titles before Benoit became injured and was sidelined for a year, which would result in Jericho losing the titles to the Dudleys. In late 2000s, Jericho became a key player in the Invasion storyline, where WCW and ECW tried to overtake WWE. He would begin to feud with The Rock and win the WCW title from him. The Rock would regain it before Jericho turned heel after attacking him. Following that, Jericho would do the impossible by defeating The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night to win the World Heavyweight title and WWE title, to become the first man ever to hold them both. Jericho would retain his undisputed title against The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin before losing it to Triple H at WrestleMania 18. Over the next while, Jericho would win the World Tag titles with Christian, have one of the best matches in WWE history against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19, feud and lose to Goldberg, and then came full circle to feud with Christian and win his record-breaking 7th Intercontinental title. At WrestleMania 21, Jericho created and competed in the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match but wasn't successful. Soon after, Jericho would turn heel again by betraying WWE Champion John Cena. He was unable to capture the title in 3 attempts, with the final time being in a "You're Fired" match, causing Jericho to leave the company. But in reality though, his contract was up and he wanted to take a break. 2 years later, Jericho returned in 2007 with his intention to be WWE Champion once again. He would feud with Randy Orton but failed to capture the title. However, he would later win the Intercontinental title once again by beating Jeff Hardy. He would also reignite his feud with Shawn Michaels by most notably throwing him through the Geritron 6000 during an interview.
So that brings us to my question. And my question is this. How does Shawn Michaels, HBK, one of the greatest performers of all time and one of the most highly decorated superstars in the history of this business, turn into such a lying, cheating, pathetic little worm of a human being?
After losing his title to Kofi Kingston and ending his feud with Shawn Michaels, Jericho would finally win the World Heavyweight title in a championship scramble match. He would lose it to John Cena after a long reign. Over the next while, Jericho would feud with actor Mickey Rourke, feud with WWE legends such as Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair, win the unified tag titles with Edge and The Big Show, win the World Heavyweight title again at Elimination Chamber 2010, lose his world title to Jack Swagger on Smackdown, and got punted in the head by Randy Orton, which once again allowed him to be written out. After returning in 2012, Jericho would start feuding with CM Punk. This feud was very memorable as Jericho brought up Punk's family, mentioning that his father was an alcoholic and his sister was a drug addict. Despite his psychological attacks, Jericho was unable to win the WWE title from Punk on 2 occasions. After being suspended for disrespecting the Brazilian flag, Jericho feuded with Dolph Ziggler and once again got terminated as part of a match stipulation so he could tour with his band. When he returned in 2013, Jericho would most notably feud and lose to Fandango at WrestleMania 29, went on tour again and then feuded and lost to Bray Wyatt. Most recently, he feuded with the debuting AJ Styles before tagging up with him as Y2AJ, but he turned heel and faced AJ at WrestleMania 32. He would also feud with Dean Ambrose. After engaging with a feud with Enzo and Kaz, Jericho would align himself with fellow Canadian heel Kevin Owens. The two would go on to be tag partners to being best friends. Jericho would help Owens retain his Universal title on multiple occasions, introduce the famous list of Jericho, and win the WWE United States title. However, Owens would turn on Jericho during the Festival of Friendship, starting a feud between the two. Jericho would cost Owens his Universal title at Fastlane against Goldberg before the two faced each other at WrestleMania 33 for the United States title, which Jericho lost. However, Jericho would regain the US title against Owens at Payback before losing it to him 2 days later on SmackDown.
I finally get it. I finally get it. Mike and Tom. Tom and Mike. You are different people. You're clones. I figured it out. You're clones. You're clones. You're a clone of Mike is a clone of Tom. Tom is a clone of Mike. And you know what happens, Kurt? When you get two clones that are both as stupid as the other, with stupid beards and stupid hair, you know what happens? You know what happens? Mike? Tom? Tom? Mike? You just made the list! Tom, Mike, Mike, Tom. Tom, Mike, Mike, Tom, Tom, Mike, Mike. Kurt! This is ridiculous!
Oh, I love that last bit. Good old Chris Jericho, anyway. But anyway, let's finally finish off our show with our yes nos.
Yes! No! Yes! No! Yes! No!
So we have a good few yes nos, so we'll get through them very quickly. Batista to return to WWE.
No.
No. Like, I don't think WWE actually wants him back. I think only he wants to return. Apparently Vince does not want him to return at all. So he's good at making movies. He's like, he can develop himself being an actor. It's like, he's better off.
Yeah, keep it going like that.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing very well with Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't he? So
yep.
Hulk Hogan to return to WWE soon. There's a lot of rumours about that happening soon.
Yeah, I guess I think it is going to happen. Don't want it to. I think keep him away, but look, it looks like it's going to happen, so yes. Okay, now this next one's sort of a three-part one. Rock to face either Rollins, Balor or Strowman at SummerSlam. Rock. Rock. Yeah. I thought you said Rock. That's kind of out of nowhere. So first of all, he will face one of them, so yes. Okay. And then who? Strowman. Who were the Strowman? Strowman, Rollins or Balor. All of them were intriguing. Oh, Balor. Okay, interesting. Balor, because the storyline makes sense. A year after he got injured and won the title, okay, he goes for the title again. Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's an interesting one. R-Truth to host a game show on WWE Network. How funny would that be? About what? I think just a general game show, like, you know, the truth shall set you free or something like that. So I don't know. Why not? Just say yes. Why not? It's like a swerve to say or something like that. By the way, we didn't mention it this week, which we really, really should have. And I kind of feel bad that we haven't, because you're mentioning about the network. That OTT are getting their own on-demand service. That's very true. Yes. Yeah, we actually shared that on our Facebook page. Congratulations to you guys. Yeah. So I can't wait for that to come in. I'll be probably one of the first people on that. Absolutely. Yeah. Aleister Black to be hugely pushed in NXT. Yes. And I hope he does. There's Triple H went on saying that he has potential to be a really big player in NXT, so I'd love to see him. He could be a really big player in WWE in general. I think so, yeah. Daniel Bryan to wrestle outside of WWE. Yes, but I don't want it to happen. Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, you don't want it to happen, but you can see. You think it's likely? Yeah, from the quotes that I saw during the week, it looks like it's going to happen. And I don't know. Maybe after looking into the eyes of his child, maybe that might change his mind. Who knows? Because you know that can happen. Maybe. But yeah, I just before he said all these things before his child was born, wasn't it? Exactly. Yeah. So maybe things can change. John Cena to return to SmackDown in July. They wanted sooner. I heard they wanted sooner. They've asked him to come back sooner. So maybe I thought it was nailed on for a SummerSlam's in August anyway, so July would be fine. But a Cena and Nakamura match at SummerSlam, I thought that was in the reckoning anyway. Oh, but yeah, it's perfect timing actually if that happens. Yeah, The Rock to run for the United States presence. I'd love to see it. Can you imagine? I'd love to see it. Can you? I don't see him for politics at all, to be perfectly honest with you. But no, but I didn't see Donald Trump as for politics either. But look what happened. He's a businessman as opposed to an actor, a world-renowned actor, / professional wrestler. 2 words: Ronald Reagan. Good points. That's a very good points. No.
Finally, and this is really on the back of yesterday, Adam Cole to join NXT.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, his last indie show, obviously his last show on Ring of Honor was last night.
Yeah.
His last indie show is May 19th.
Mm-hmm.
May 20th is NXT TakeOver Chicago.
It's only perfect
I'm
timing.
calling it now. He will be in the crowd.
Okay.
It's going to be like a Bobby Roode and a Drew McIntyre sort of thing.
Okay.
He will be in the crowd.
That'll be awesome to see. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week on The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 Near FM. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Kickout Wrestling and on Twitter at The Kickout Live for all the latest news and content we covered today. And we'll be back next week live on Near FM to talk about all the latest developments from the world of pro wrestling, both here and abroad. Before we leave, because Fan Breeze Dango Bin's like one of the biggest talking points this week, we kind of have to play the original. Classic Law and Order. You know what you do? You do that sound effect, that noise. You do that together, how they did together at the end.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3. Bing, bing.
No,
Oh well.
it didn't work.
Oh well. Until next week, I've been Dave Cullen. He's been Dara Mar. This has been The Kickouts. Thank you for listening and have a great weekend.